I'm here in Brighton because I was talking to my friends at the Further Maths Support Programme. They try and convince more people to study more mathematics at A level. And I said that is a great idea because maths is fun to do, you learn thinking and problem solving skills. And they said, no, we think people are actually going to use the maths they learn at school in their future careers. I was like, come on, surely not. And so they challenged me to visit several people at their places of work to prove to me that they do use the maths that they learnt at school. Okay, and it turns out this time they've sent me to a vet. Okay, so in reception they've already got a calculator out on the desk. That is a very good sign. Hi Laurel, I'm Matt.
Hi there.
Nice to meet you. I've been told I can follow you around your day of being a vet and see what maths you use.
Indeed. Well, we've got a cat in today. She's an older cat. She's really not feeling very well.
Oh no.
She's been vomiting off her food. So it may just be a bit of a gastrointestinal upset.
So the cat just could be sick?
Yeah, she might just need a little bit of anti-nausea treatment. But particularly because she's an older cat, they can have underlying problems like diabetes, kidney problems.
It could be something more serious causing the vomiting.
So we need to do some tests, take some blood, take some urine, find out what it is that's going on with her.
Okay.
Before we sedate her, we just need to give her a bit of a check that her cardiovascular system is going to be able to take it. So.
All right.
We shall also have to weigh her because a lot of the medications that we use are dependent on her body weight.
On body mass, you need to know how much cat there is.
Oh, sorry, darling, you have to come on my table, I'm afraid.
Okay, how much cat is there?
There is
3.43 kilos.
Okay, so she's not lost any weight since yesterday. Excellent.
Oh, poor Pixie.
So we're going to sedate Pixie now.
Right.
So she's
poor thing.
not bothered by a blood sampling. So the sedative drugs are all fairly powerful, so you need an accurate weight, which is why we were...
Because too much and the cat's in trouble.
Yeah. And so the doses for the drugs tend to be in milligrams per kilo.
Okay.
So because she's old and unwell, we also have to apply another safety factor. Basically, we reduce the dose.
So how much does Pixie need?
So, for the older, sicker cat dose, we need 0.25 milligrams per kilo.
Yeah.
So she's 3.43 kilos.
So it's going to be just under a milligram.
So she needs 0.85 milligrams. So there's 5 milligrams in a mil of this medication. So we need to divide it by 5. So she needs 0.17 mils of the medication.
Okay, so you've gone from mass to volume to work out the volume you need to get the mass you need for her mass.
That's the plan.
Of course.
Partially, it's a case of being careful when you're calculating, but it's also being aware in your mind of what number you're expecting, and just checking that it's...
Yes, because if that was 1.7, you'd be like, hang on a second.
We're not really a Rottweiler.
So you've got to do a sense check after the calculation.
Yeah.
Right. I can't tell you how many students, when I've been teaching maths, I've said, did you stop and think, is this a sensible answer? And they're like, no. I'm going to step back.
That Pixie might not appreciate this very much. Who's so brave, hey? Such a brave girl. Oh, I know, it's horrible, isn't it? Hey, but you'll feel very good in a second, okay? So, now we've got to wait for that to take effect. It usually takes about 5 minutes.
Okay, that was pretty quick and efficient. You've been doing that for a while?
Yeah, just a little while.
How much do you need?
3 mils would be nice.
3 mils.
1.5, I think, is going to be...
It doesn't sound like much,
we're
but
going to achieve. So 1.5, I would be happy with. Right then, little one. Well done. We have some blood.
We've come through to the lab area, and you can hear there's a machine processing Pixie's blood in the background, but I've been distracted by these tables they've got up on the cupboards over here. So if you're, if you want to anesthetize a rabbit, there's your drug protocol table, and there's whatever these are. And here, there's another calculator. So it's actually labeled for this room, and every room you go into here has its own calculator. I love this place. So this machine has analysed Pixie's blood, and this is what it spits out.
Yeah, so we've got her results here on the screen. We're testing various parameters for red and white blood cells, and we get the actual numbers down the side. So, for example, the white blood cells, you've got 13, and that's supposed to be between 5 and 19, effectively. So,
okay, so 13.8, well, you've got to know orders of magnitudes. This is scientific notation, love it, percentages. And so each row is a different test it's done on the blood.
So a different parameter. So the numbers are helpful, but it's somewhat difficult to just get a look at. So over here they produce these lovely little box plots for us, which show us the normal range down the middle, and the low and the high side. So if any of the values were abnormal, they would turn up either in the low or the high side. And they
so what are the little grey lines? What do they represent?
So the grey lines here are 2 standard deviations either side of the mean. So what that means is that 95% of animals have results within this range. So we can say that if the results aren't in this range, there's only a 5% chance that that's happened for a normal animal, and so it's very likely to be an abnormal.
So that is indicating something. So actually, I'm going to stop you very briefly, because over here I actually have a big pile of textbooks, because when the Further Maths Support Program said that the maths would be used at school, I said, right, I'm going to make sure it's in an actual textbook. And so I think statistics 1, I mean, looking at standard deviation is almost guaranteed. So here we go. Interpretation. So this is interpreting measures compared to standard deviations of populations. You got box and whisker plots, which, I mean, these are quartiles, but it's effectively the same thing. You're looking at a population and one particular value to see how it compares. So, I mean, this couldn't be a better description of what you're doing right now.
And if you want more detail, they actually plot every single cell on these little graphs
here. That's the actual data it processed.
Yeah, so it plots them by granularity, which is the amount of bits inside the cell, and light absorption, so how much light gets through. And this then will separate your blood cells out. So over here on the red blood cell count, we've got all the red blood cells here, all the platelets here, and some regenerative cells up in this area. On the white blood cells, again, you've got sort of eosinophils here, and basically just different populations of white blood cells. And so if there was a problem, you'd see these change even before the values change. You can see
the populations drifting on that scatter plot. That's fantastic. So importantly, what does this tell us about Pixie?
So from Pixie's point of view, the good thing is that her values are normal. So there's no signs of any infections, any anemia, any dehydration. So it's very likely that she's got a gastrointestinal problem, which we can...
She's just got a stomach problem.
Basically.
All right, and now you've ruled out everything else, you can just treat that.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Brilliant.
And hopefully she can go home, probably a little bit grumpy, but she'll be feeling much better soon.
Fantastic. I have to admit, I was sceptical at how much maths a vet would actually use, and I kind of saw the plots and the scatter plots that coming, because you've got to be able to analyse statistics and results from blood samples and everything else you're checking up with animals. But what I didn't realise was just the sheer number of calculations they have to do all the time, and that's why there's a calculator in every single room. And it's not just a case of, oh yeah, it's quite straightforward maths. The point is, these people have to be confident and relaxed and able to do it correct every single time and check whether or not their answers make sense. And so I really appreciate that there are people who may not enjoy maths, but they still learn it, go on to become vets, and can take care of poor cats like Pixie here.